3 hours of fun
This
and
is Ryan
delight.
Allred. He is our
Stand up so you can
observing
see me.
with Cache Valley Electric, observing is a company of theirs. And that's who helped us do the Google migration and all that stuff. And if you guys watched any videos, training videos before, which I'm guessing maybe 2 of you did.
I did.
Oh, this is the good group then. You guys
We're the
can
good
many
group.
guideposts.
You say that out to all the groups.
Anyway, he's done some of those videos. So this is gonna be super interactive. Make sure you ask questions if you're wondering how things work or you can't figure out how to do something and you wondered how to do something. Chances are pretty good Ryan knows all of it. So, that's it. We'll get started.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Like you said, this is going to be really interactive. So I don't have a ton of content ready. What we're going to do is I'll go through my content as questions come up. Feel free to ask them. And we'll kind of just go through G Suite together. And if we end up going through everything and you guys feel comfortable, then we should probably get out early. So I'm just going to start in G Suite or in Gmail. And I'm just going to kind of go through the basic topics, kind of the basic workflow, how we're going to work out of our email, and feel free to ask questions if anything comes up. So the first thing you'll notice is I actually have this right pane open, and it's for Google Tasks. I'm going to be using that to kind of keep up to date with the topics I want to cover. But this is a great tool that you guys can use to keep tasks scheduled for yourself without necessarily doing it in the calendar. And you can open it up from basically any of the apps here on the sidebar. So that's what I'm going to be using, just so you guys know what that view
The little
is.
circle up there with your initial in it, I think.
On the right hand side, there's a thing that says tasks.
Where?
Oh, I see.
Absolutely, that's something you can do instead of creating. So if it's just a daily task that you always have to do, or you're supposed to call so and so back, you can just put it in as a task, and then once you're done, you can just click it off, and it goes away. Yep.
How did you get to that again?
Yeah, absolutely.
That little-
So this little sidebar on the right has your calendar, it has keep, and it has tasks. Do you not have one?
Oh, yeah, I do now.
Oh, okay.
There it is. Probably held it at it as well.
So yeah, so we'll go over calendar, keep, and tasks, but just for now, just so I keep organized, we're going to go over, and I'm going to keep tasks open and closed throughout the day. Another thing that we want to talk about is kind of some of the other integrations that Gmail currently has. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you guys can actually start and join meetings right from the left here. And it's really simple, right? All I have to do is click a new meeting. I can send the invite to whomever I want. I can send it via email or just copy the meeting link. And then I can join, and it'll invite that person to the meeting with me. So you don't have to change your application to start a new meeting. And same goes if you have a meeting scheduled. You can click My Meetings, and then it'll show what's on your schedule. So I've got a meeting with Mark at 12. This is a fake account, but come 12, I don't have to leave Gmail out. I can just go ahead and come in here and say, all right, yeah, let's join now. And it'll take me to that meeting. Some other cool tools that you're going to find are Hangouts, which is an IM service. Sorry, my mouse is being weird here. So Hangouts is the ability to chat with people. I don't know why my mouse will not let me scroll down right now. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, in Hangouts, this is a way to instant message someone. So if you don't necessarily want to send an email, but you want to see if, I don't know, Keith can do lunch, this is a great way to hit Keith up for lunch. And you know, do little tasks like that within the domain that don't necessarily need to be emails, but you want a quick communication from. So that's a great tool to use, and all you have to do to open it up is click on the person's name, I've got an invite pending to another account of mine, but you can come in here, add a group, so you can email groups or chat groups, or you can do an email, phone number, whomever, so.
Send one to Keith and invite him to lunch.
So here's what a chat looks like. I'll just say, hi, Mark. And Mark can go ahead and respond to me when he's ready. And it just opens up here in G Suite or Gmail, so no big deal. Easy to find, easy to access all the time. So that's just some of the general navigation that you're going to find that's not related to email. So we haven't touched email yet. That's everything in addition to email that you're going to find in Gmail. Now we're just going to compose an email. So anytime you need to start a new email, you just come up to the top left, hit compose, and then you can add whomever you want. So I'm going to add my other account. I'm going to add Keith. Oh, this account doesn't know Keith's. Yep, this is just a regular email, but what I'm going to show you is if you have an alias set up, an account that you can send from in addition to your own account, if you ever need to change who you're sending from or sending as, there's going to have this drop down right here. And so I can say, I can also send on behalf of all at observianlovesgsuite.com instead of just my Ryan at observianlovesgsuite.com. So that's what that drop down does. And if you need to add an alias account, we'll go over that in a second, but that's the process for actually using it. Carbon copy, blind carbon copy, you can add those as needed, take them away if you don't, just don't use them. So if you don't have it from, we haven't added an alias yet, so it's just using your default account. If we need to change that, I'll show you how to do that in the future, but.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about sending emails here and just some of the tools. So I'm sure you're all familiar with attaching files, inserting a link, there's emojis if you want. What you might not be super used to is inserting a Drive file. The nice thing about using Drive in these situations is you can actually send much larger files than traditional email services. So it's not actually sending the file itself, it's sending a link to your Drive document. And you're linking that information to them, and then they can see it. So now instead of being limited to a 50 megabit spreadsheet, you can send them your entire monster spreadsheet that's got 40 gigs on it or something like that. Something crazy. You can send that to them. They can have access to it because essentially they're accessing a link instead of actually receiving the entire document. And when you send them that link, it sends them the permissions to go ahead and use it. So I would always recommend any larger file, sharing that from Drive instead of just as an attachment. And so it's going to default here to a Drive link. I'm going to go ahead and save that.
Large files all the time.
And then what it's going to do is when I send this,
I don't see what he did.
so I'm going to send to Mark. I'm going to go ahead and hit send. It's going to say, okay, hey, you need to give access to this file to be able to send it to these people. So I'm going to give them, there's view, comment, and edit. Those are the access levels you can give them. So view means they can look at it, they can't touch it, they can't do anything with it. Strictly viewing permissions. Comment means they can have little comment boxes and say, hey, maybe you want to change this, or this looks great, whatever. And then edit means they can actually go into your document, go into your spreadsheet, whatever you send them, and they can make changes on behalf of you. And then if you need to see what changes they made, we can actually go in and look at what changes they made, and we'll take a look at that a little bit down the road. But those are the three general permissions. I'm going to say Mark and my other account can go ahead and edit.
Can you show again where you
Where you
like,
started
how
on that?
attached
Is
it
it
or
just
how
the-
to shape the link?
Sorry, so where am I going here?
Just at the very start where you, like, did you just go on insert link or what was it that started this?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So I did insert using Drive.
Okay.
So then,
Where?
we need to move our spreadsheet to the Google Drive first, right?
Yeah, so in that situation, you would need to it would need to be stored in Drive. And the nice thing is I know that you guys are a lot of you are still using Microsoft Excel. You can edit Excel files directly out of Google Drive, and it'll keep it saved, keep it updated. They say it keeps 100% of the formatting. That's a lie. It keeps 99% of the formatting. So if you upload it and something's a little weird, just know that Drive may have done something. It doesn't change any of the formulas. It just, I don't know, sometimes their spacing's a little bit different.
Okay, so I have a spreadsheet, I click on it and I hit insert.
Mhm.
You gotta hit the little triangle.
And then
you have the
Triangle thing.
Deliver the paper clip.
Where did you get the edit and?
Oh, yeah, so,
Because I've got it in my.
So you know how you normally
That
attach
I'm sending.
so here, I'm just gonna send this. If you go ahead and click send now,
See sending social security
so
numbers.
let me put it in the recipient.
Oh,
So I'm gonna send.
Yep, click send, and then this window is gonna pop
Yeah,
up.
looks
So
like
what
it
if
has
that
it.
window doesn't pop up?
So if that window doesn't pop up,
There we go.
that means that user that you're sending it to already has access to that document.
Okay.
So if it doesn't pop up, they already have access, they already have permissions granted to them. And so you're you're sending them another link so they can find it easier.
So sometimes when I receive a file, I'll go to click on it, and it says I need permission. So does that mean that the person who sent it to me didn't do this step?
Yeah, it's either, generally it means they didn't do that step, so they either sent a link out and then set weird permissions for the link, and we'll go over that in a little bit.
Okay.
That's most likely what happened, because if they send it to you directly, they will get this screen, 9 times out of 10, unless they've done something weird on their end.
Because I get that all the time.
So you should know, if you get that, it will actually request permission on your behalf.
Right.
So you go ahead and you request it, and it says, oh, hey, yeah, so-and-so's asking, whoever sent it to you will say, hey, Ryan wants permission, and they just hit accept.
Okay.
And then I hit
So I'm trying to send myself one of my files, and it's not coming up with that permission.
So are you sending it from a personal?
I'm sending it from my county email.
To your county email?
What?
To your county email, from your county
No,
email?
I'm sending it to my own email,
personal.
just to test it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, and it didn't make me give permission, so that's okay.
I mean, I don't know why I asked, because I never do that, but just-
No, that's, I'll talk to you, because there's some different settings in the admin portal that might need to be adjusted there. But if it's not asking you, then default, it's gonna give edit permissions, if you share it with them. So, they should have access to it in that situation.
Does that have budget hearings in there? Okay, now, click on budget hearings.
Okay, so, do you guys ever write emails that you wanna send later? I do it all the time. We can schedule a send here, just really easily. I'll show you where I clicked again. This little down arrow right next to send. You can schedule a send, and you say, hey, this afternoon, let's go ahead and send this, and then it'll make me
Awesome.
put permissions in. Right, so nice and easy, nothing too crazy. We can it gives us 3 times generally, and then we can pick a specific time. So, really easy, just a feature not many people know.
Hey, I got a question about, back to the drive, sorry. So I have my work Gmail now, but I also had another Gmail that I used to use before I had a work Gmail. So some of my drive files are in my other Gmail account. So when I go to click on that, it defaults to my work Gmail one, Is there an easy way to get to my ones that are on my other Gmail account?
So you can be signed into multiple accounts in Chrome. And I can come and show you how to do that, 'cause
Okay.
it's a little bit wonky. But I would recommend anything that's related to the county, we
Just
go
move
ahead and
over?
move that over.
Okay.
Just because the county is gonna be more secure, more locked down. A free version of Gmail and G Suite does not have the same security as the paid version. There's a lot of features that come with the paid version that differentiate it from the free version. So that's why we're gonna wanna make sure everything's on our Box Elder County emails. If you ever need to send something, so this is not encrypted, but this is called confidential mode. So what I'll do is I'll just type test here. So confidential mode, what it does is it sets an expiration on the email you're sending, and it also limits people from being able to take a screenshot, to be able to print, to be able to send forward your email. Basically, it just gives them the ability to view whatever you send them, and they can't do anything else with it. So if you ever need to send a confidential email like that, with set expirations, you can go ahead and do that right here.
Just destroy them.
And then it'll say, hey, you're sending a confidential email. Be sure you want to do that. So pretty cool tool there, nice and easy. And then if we come into, so I went to my sent box here. So I went to my sent box, I went and found that confidential email. Let's say I no longer want that person to have access to that confidential email. I can come open it up, here it says test, I'm just gonna remove access. So they had access, I set an expiration date, I decided they don't need access to the full expiration date I'm gonna take away right now. I just go and find it and hit revoke. So. Okay, who is confused about labels versus folders and how that works in Gmail?
I hate them.
You
So,
hate
yeah,
them?
I hate them too. That's actually a question I came prepared for. Like, on the labels, I just want everything to go to primary. I could give a hang about social and promotion.
Okay, so we can turn that off, I'll show you how to do that.
Perfect.
I'll show, so let's turn that off first.
Oh, it's over on the left.
So,
I do.
she's talking about primary, social, and promotion up here. So that's just Google AI deciding what we actually think is gonna be useful or not. We can turn it off really easily, and I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So if we come up to our gear icon, and then we select see all settings,
Turn this off.
and then I come to, I believe it's in accounts.
Then you click on
I lied, it's not in accounts, it is in inbox. There we go. So if you're in settings, and then at the top ribbon, you choose inbox. See how I have social and promotions turned on here? I just go ahead and disable that.
Perfect.
And now everything's gonna come into that one box.
So mine was on primary, so.
Okay.
it.
Makes me very happy.
Unclick them.
And then, I don't know if you guys
How do you get rid of it?
are used to Outlook, or is anyone still currently using Outlook to receive the Gmail? No? Okay. Does anyone miss having the ability to, on your left, have the email and then click into it on the right, you're able to read it? Okay, let me show you how to fix that really quickly. So we're still in settings here, all right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll down to reading pane, and we're gonna click this toggle box that says enable reading pane.
We're still
Get rid of that.
Yes. I love that. Still reading that.
So once you enable that reading pane, I think you have to come down and save changes.
Mine says no split, what do we?
So that's what I'm gonna show you next. So once you've enabled that, if you see my mouse here at the top right, I'm gonna toggle the split that I want. So,
I don't have that.
did you enable the reading pane from the? Yeah, so then scroll down from there, all the way down and save changes. Yeah, so anytime you make changes in the settings, you'll need to save them. And it's confusing and I forget it all the time. So just be aware of that. So now I get to choose my split. So this is no split. Here's a vertical split, which is what most of us are used to with Outlook. And so if I click in here, boom, now I can read it on the right. Or you can also do a horizontal split. That's not my favorite, but feel free to use it.
That's what I use. Did the same thing.
Absolutely. So now you don't have to open everything up. Super easy, especially if you have another monitor that you use your email for, then it's a lot bigger. Super nice to use. Let's see. Let's talk about our frustrations with folders over here. Well, these are called labels, right?
Yeah.
And labels versus folders and kind of how that is distinguished. So it is and it isn't. So a label, GSuite calls their folders labels. And a label has everything that a folder can do, plus the ability to label an email with 2 labels. So an email can be put in 2 labels, so you can find it in multiple spots. So for me, I have clients that, maybe an email pertains to 3 clients. I will label it for client A, B, and C. And then when I look in that label, I'll find it for A, B, and C. Correct. So that's the biggest distinguishing factor between labels and folders, is a label can be used for multiple, you can put one email in multiple labels.
If I have an email and it can go to all 3 commissioners, I can label it with all 3 commissioners and I can find it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. So let's set up a label. Let's set up a filter.
Same email.
So I'm just going to start by searching for an email that I want. And maybe I want to find everything that says test. So I just search at the top, test. Now let's say, hey, yeah, that actually is useful. Maybe all those tests I want to put in a certain area. So I'm going to say anything that has the words test from, let's do.
Yeah,
What did you just click?
Oh, sure. Let me do that again.
Do that to test.
Okay, so let me go all the way back to my homepage.
I got the test. I searched.
So I'm just using the search bar at the very top. This is the easiest way to search our inbox. This will search across all labels. It will search across everything in your inbox. So I'm going to search test. And then I'm just clicking on this little search button with test here. You can also just hit enter at that point. This is going to show me all emails that have test in it, but that's a lot. I don't want to deal with that right now. So I'm going to drop that down from there, and I'm going to create a filter using that search. So if it has the word test, and I'm going to say if it's from my friend Mark, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a filter. So here's a search, here's a filter. We can just search all these emails, but I actually want to create a filter. So I'm going to create a filter. And I'm going to go ahead and say, you can mark it as red, you can star it, you can apply a label. So here's where our labels come in, and I can say new label. I'm going to call it test. And I'm going to nest it under the demo, right? And I'll show you where we find that right after here. And then a category. Categories are the primary, the social, the updates. Generally speaking, I don't use those. I don't know that you need to as well. But what I'm going to do is, this is confusing. If we want something to skip our inbox, and we want it to go straight to that label and be found in that label forever and henceforth, and you don't want to see it muddling up your inbox, what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip the inbox, we're gonna archive it. And then we're gonna go also apply this filter to one matching conversation. So I have one match for this search. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that right now. So what these rules do is the first checkbox I have here says, all right, once it comes in, send it to the label that I've designated, and don't keep it in my general inbox. I don't want to find it there. It's clutter. It needs to be out of the way. And then this last rule I've said is anything that you can currently find in my inbox that matches this criteria, let's go ahead and add it to that label. So I'm going to go create that filter. And now if we come in under demo and then test, there's that email that it found for me. So it moved that all on its own. How do you get rid of a label? Like you just want to, do you want to hide it or do you want to remove it? Or what are you trying to do when you get rid of a label?
I just created one that said test and now I don't want to.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, you can go, you can just, if you click on the, so if you click on the label,
Over on the right-hand side.
yeah, so those three dots
Mhm.
next to it, and then just remove label. So if you remove a label and it has a bunch of mail in it, it's going to default and it'll go to your inbox. So the label no longer exists. Everything that was in that label is going to go to your inbox at that point. You can also hide labels. You can add a label color. So if you guys work in colors or want something a little bit more vibrant,
All about that.
all my email, my personal email is color coded. It's really easy to find my clients based off of different colors. It's a lot better to look at, in my opinion.
So mine said that it was created, but I never got it. It never said your label's been created, but there's no tab if you have demo.
So
Data commission.
so you're not finding a label.
Go to your C's. It's kind of sort of alphabetized.
So inbox to drafts, those are default labels that Gmail has set up. And then after drafts, you're going to start finding the labels you've created.
Oh.
Your labels go under drafts, is that what I heard?
What's
If
that?
you want to create a new label, it goes under drafts, is that what I heard? Okay.
Yeah.
And how do I get down here?
So there's a little, if you're watching the screen, this little scroll bar here.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, there it is. Right on.
Yep, and if you want to see more of your labels, if you notice where my mouse is right here, I can actually pull this down, well, if I'm skilled enough.
It doesn't let you pull it down very far
Oh,
though.
I already have mine pulled down. So it doesn't, yeah, there we go.
As you see, you have more space than I do, and that's why.
That's a good shot. Mine, I can hardly pull them down at all.
Oh, at least there.
Can you make Hangouts smaller?
So we can move Hangouts out of the way, I believe.
I'm sorry, I missed how you did the color.
Oh, sure. So the color again,
Yeah.
right click next to your label, label color. Again, go ahead and set that.
Right.
And then you can nest labels under each other, and I don't know how deep you can go, but I've never run into any issues. I've gone 10 or so deep without a problem. So you can have labels within labels within labels. All right, let's open my tasks up again.
So I got commissioners, then nest underneath that, all three commissioners, and then nest underneath that, everything that is Stan's, everything that is Jeff Hatfield's, and everything that is Jeff Hatfield's.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you could even go further and say, you could go into one of Jeff's and say, all right, here's emails for August, here's emails for September, right? Like you can go really deep with those.
Okay.
If you want, I mean,
Yeah, I
you know,
would
it depends on how granular you want to be.
That was fine.
Pretty shallow.
Yeah, I label color.
Okay, so do labels make a little bit more sense to people? Do we have more questions on them?
I have a tip.
What's still confusing about it? Because I think this is really important that we understand, because without labels, email is just clutter.
These are all done.
It's really hard.
Drafts, but this is.
Okay, you said that you go into drafts to create.
Oh, those are full.
So what I did to create a label, and there are multiple ways too. So if I just want to create a label here, I can actually go ahead and
Just put on what? Anybody?
yeah, so I can just click on, if I want to put a sub label under Observian, I can go.
But what if I want to do a brand new label, not a sub label?
Yeah, so if I want to do a brand new label, then I need to come into, so if you saw what I did there, I
got
clicked more at the bottom, so I'll show more again. Here's more,
And then it just goes.
and I'm
to
gonna
that.
scroll all the way down.
No, I don't. It gives me
I would
less.
be using labels for all.
If you scroll down after,
Okay, so there's my
So
more,
PowerPoint's just to 3 people.
right?
Create a new label.
And then you say, click on it.
Oh, it works, so.
and then scroll down.
All the way to the bottom.
Okay.
Yep. So then we're gonna come, we can create a new label, or we can manage all of our current labels. So for this instance, we'll just create a label. Test 2, I'm not gonna nest it under anything. And we'll come up here and we'll find test 2. And then we can keep doing that. But if I want to put something under test 2, I can also just come here and add a sublabel. So now what this is doing is it's saying test 3 is going to be found under test 2. So there we go, and we can see that that is in fact the case. Test 2, here's test 3. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those for now.
How do we?
So if you manage labels, these are all of the labels that we currently have and kind of what we want to do with them. So the inbox by default stays on. There's nothing we can do about that.
Right.
But starred, we can go ahead and hide starred. Maybe you never use starred. Go ahead and hide it. Snooze, maybe you never use it. Hide it. Sent. If you never go through your sent mail, I go through my sent mail constantly because I forget if I sent that email. But we can go through and hide these things, or we can click show if unread. So drafts, for instance, I'm looking at drafts. If I have a draft that is unread, it'll show the draft label. But if it's empty and there's nothing unread, it's just going to hide the whole label altogether. Same with Outbox. Outbox is used for offline mode, which we'll go over in just a second. But basically, if you're offline and you can't currently send an email, you'll find things in Outbox. And then, the reason you guys won't have Outbox on right now is because we haven't enabled offline mode, but we'll go over that shortly. And then here's the categories, those are the categories. Here's the labels we've created. And it shows me how many conversations are in those labels, which is kind of useful here as well. So you can go ahead, you can remove, edit. You can do whatever you need here. We can create new labels. So this is just another view to do kind of the same thing, but it gives us more detail in everything that we have. So do labels, are they starting to make a little bit more sense? We feel comfortable using them? Awesome. Does anyone here ever need to send as someone else? I kind of went over switching the email address, but if we're not using that feature, let's not go over it.
Go incognito.
Sorry, what was that?
I want to send a nasty
I
email.
was
to
having
Diane.
evil thoughts.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Just log on to your
That's right.
Okay, so how do we get out of that?
Yeah, so if we need to get out of that, the first thing I would always recommend is, once you're in the settings page, once you've made changes, always scroll down and see if there's a save that you need to do.
Okay,
Because a lot of these pages have saves and some of them don't, and
I don't think I do.
so I don't see a save there. So you scroll down, you don't see a save, that's great. Easiest way is to honestly come up to the top left and click on Gmail. And it'll just take us to our inbox. So nice and easy there. Let's see, we've gone over some good things here. Do you guys ever, let's see, snooze? Once you click an email, if you don't want to respond to it right now, I do this all the time, maybe I want to respond to it later, you can snooze an email. So you click into it, and then at this top bar, we can go ahead and snooze it. What a snooze does is it says, get it out of my way for now, and then tomorrow or later today at 6 p.m., put it back in my inbox so I can find it again.
You won't show us on red even though you look at it, so that.
Yeah, so when it comes back up, it'll come as basically a brand new email. It'll show as unread, and you'll recognize it and be like, oh yeah, I remember you. And it'll actually say, hey, this was snooze at 7:00 o'clock. If we click into that email again, we can archive it. Archiving is different from deleting. You'll still have access to it, it's just a little bit harder to get to. But you guys have unlimited email with Gmail, so unless you really want to get rid of stuff, I would just say keep it logically in folders. Even if you have just one big data dump of a folder, just keep it, you know.
If I want to archive stuff, can I say I want to archive everything older than 3 months and have it just do all of it at once, or I have to go?
Yes, yes, you could. And the easiest way to do that would be up here at the top, creating a filter. So I'm actually just going to click this drop down immediately. And I would say, we would just say our date range. Go ahead and put that in, and then we would, let's do 2 weeks. Let's see, it's going to be, we'd have to do with special characters to search to grab all, but it'd be something like, it's not going to be that exactly, but I can look it up in a second. But it'd be something like that, and then we'd go ahead and create a filter and say, hey, anything like that, let's go ahead and archive it. So, nice and easy. And you're more than welcome to do that. Just know that G Suite has a tool called Vault that archives everything you guys send and receive. And so if you delete something, if you can't find something in the future, it can be found. You can't find it necessarily, but IT will have access to that. So no email is ever truly lost. It's just, it might be harder to get a hold of. Okay.
I don't know where those 1,000 emails are.
So,
Stuff.
Mhm.
So I delete stuff when I finish it. It's like at home, don't go home, I just throw it away and then wish I had it.
Sheets is the same as Excel, and Docs is the same as Word.
Yep. Oh, well, Google's version. Maybe not the same, but Google's version.
And then is it always saved to Google Drive?
Yes. Yep, by default, it's like just Google Drive. So let me show you one more thing while we're in Gmail, then we can open it up for more Gmail questions. And if we're satisfied, we can go on to another app. I'm going to come into settings. I'm going to see all settings. And then I'm going to come over to where it says offline. So offline mode, if you guys notice, Gmail is all browser-based. So you say, okay, what do we do when there's no internet, but I still want to read my emails? Which happens, right? we can enable offline mode, which allows us to still open up Chrome, go to our email, and it'll actually cache our emails for us so that we then have access to them. So it essentially downloads them to our desktop, and then we can access them from the Chrome browser.
Offline.
So to do that,
Right now, ours says offline unavailable.
Yeah.
oh, does it?
Yes.
Okay, I think Keith wanted you guys to have access to that, so I will chat with him. But basically, all we're gonna do, once we get to this screen, is we're gonna enable offline mode, and then we're gonna come and hit save. And that way, if you turn off the internet, you can still come to Chrome, open up your Gmail, and actually find your email still, and download things, and basically you can do everything but send and receive mail because you're not online. Any other questions for Gmail? What did I cover poorly? We can go back, you're not hurting my feelings. We can go forward. What direction do we want to move?
Hey, I just have a picky question.
Sure.
So, if I am composing an email and I wanna add an attachment, I know how to add an attachment, but sometimes, like when I have my two screens, I'm working on my little project over on this screen.
Yep.
I just saved it. There's not really a way to copy and paste an attachment, right? I have to click the little icon and,
So you can actually drag and drop an attachment. So I don't actually know.
but I can't copy and paste, right?
No, not in, well,
I haven't figured out how to do that. That's what I meant.
I don't think we can.
Okay,
Let me
That's
verify
fine.
that. Yeah, we cannot, but if you notice, I have this here. I can actually just drag it over, drop it in, and now it's attached.
Okay.
So there is that workaround, but there's not a direct copy and paste.
I've got one more question, sorry. If I've got, like in my inbox, I can see I've got, 350 unviewed read emails. Can I go in and just highlight and say mark all as read somewhere?
Yes, I
hit the
believe
end.
so.
I know I can do it per page, but is there any way to go back?
Oh,
Well, I'm thinking about my own email too. I've got 5,000 unread emails, but
so there's not a way, you can do it per page, and that I know of, there is not a way to do everything, but we can change how many emails we can see per page.
to make
So
it
maybe that
faster.
makes it a little bit better. I think you can go up to,
I know you can go up to, yeah, I've changed that. I just didn't know if there's one way to.
yeah, so in general, if anyone wants to change that, so settings, general, you can go up to 100, which still is not great.
Well, that's fine. I just didn't know if there's a faster way, so, thanks.
Yep, absolutely.
how about, is there a way to look at, so like, can I just view all unread email? So like if I just have my list of email, is there a way to look at all unread?
So,
So to filter out the ones you've already read, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
if we are at the top here,
Oh, okay.
you see where I'm at?
Uh-huh.
If I just click,
And then just hit unread.
so
Okay.
right now by default, it's all,
Right, gotcha.
then none, read, unread.
Perfect.
Oh, so that's actually grabbing all of my unread.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually haven't thought about that use case. What we could do is we could create a label that moves everything that's unread to a new folder or to a new label.
I wanna do that. Just do
But,
that in Outlook.
yeah, generally
I just wanna
speaking,
see the ones I have
I
already.
don't know of a great solution.
Make sure I'm all here.
Okay, not a big deal.
It's super easy to fix.
She's given me a solution right here.
Go to inbox, under inbox type, at the top where it says default, change to unread first,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and then save that, and
Beautiful.
it'll come all at the top.
Yeah, so I've done the priority first, but I haven't done the inbox first, so thank you.
I just like that better.
Yeah, so That's a great point. We can actually change this entire layout, and I'll go back and show you where I did that. But now all of my unread emails are first, and I can actually collapse it, and here's everything else. And I can collapse that. So, okay, perfect. So I'm coming back into settings. From settings, I'm going to inbox. And inbox type, to see that particular view, was unread first. But you can also do important first, so things that are labeled as or marked as important. Starred first,
I know, don't you tell me.
priority inbox, multiple inboxes, you can set that up as you want.
So if you go back, if you put it as unread first, then you can go back and say default, and it'll go back to the date?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. My personal inbox is actually priority inbox. And priority inbox, what that does is it says, hey, first thing that's gonna show up is starred and important emails. And important emails are determined often by Google. Google will say, hey, so-and-so emailed you, and you always read these emails really fast. So it's gonna be important to you. And then it goes to unread, and then it goes to everything else. So that's how I have mine set up. But yeah, unread first here, that's a beautiful option. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, do we like Gmail now? Or is it still the worst?
So, my question is, as long as I'm logged into my Gmail account, I can go to my drive and I'll have access to my documents, my sheets, I was gonna say Excel. Is slides the same as,
PowerPoint.
okay. But I will have access to all of that.
Yep.
That's just through my drive is connected to my email.
Correct. Yep. It's one collaboration tool that works in session together.
Okay.
Okay, so if we feel comfortable with Gmail, and if there's no more questions, I think we can go ahead and move on to calendar. If everyone's comfortable with that. So I'm going to come up to the little waffle icon at the top right. Well, I don't know if it's a waffle, but every time I describe it as a waffle, people find it really quickly. So, and I'm going to come to calendar. So if you notice, we obviously opened up a new tab in Chrome. Anytime you open up a new app, it's going to open up a new tab for you. So you're not out of your Gmail, it's still there, easy to find. Let's just go over some really quick things here. If I want to change my view to day, week, month, year, I do that at the top right. So I have mine on for the week. That's what I prefer to see. But if you want to do the month, here's everything I have for the month. Here's the day, right? So change that view as you want. Or you can set it up as a 5-day schedule.
Will it default to what you change it to, so it doesn't have to do it every time?
Yep, so whatever you change it to, that's gonna stay there. And then, so next time I log on to calendar, it's gonna be a week for me. You'll also notice that I have multiple calendars here on the left. So I have Logan Office, I have Mark, I have reminders, the shift schedule. I have all sorts of things here. So I'm actually gonna unsubscribe from Mark's calendar right now, just so I can show you how to do that in a second here. And I wanna bring up the fact that this is a room, and I'm subscribing to the room's calendar. So now, when I subscribe to the Logan Office, I can see, hey, that room is available at these times. So if you guys are scheduling rooms out, or if you're scheduling resources out, you can actually subscribe to that calendar and say, hey, such and such room is available between now and then. Maybe we should all have a meeting then. Another way to do that is if you want to go ahead and click Meet With, and then just type in anyone in your organization, whoever you want to meet with, you just put their name in. So I want to meet with Mark, and I want to meet with the Logan office. And Logan office, it didn't add anything because the Logan office currently is totally empty. I can schedule anytime I want. But if you notice in purple here, Mark's information is showing up. Right? So now I see when Mark is available compared to when I'm available. And so, you know, this is a super basic schedule, but normally you're going to find a half hour where you're both available. And you can go ahead and schedule that. And while I have my name and Mark's name and everyone's name in here, I can just click, drag down, and if you notice, it puts Mark in there for me, and it also applied the room that I want to schedule to. And it named it for me, which is also kind of nice.
Okay, I typed in Jessie and I think I'm seeing her personal Gmail and not her.
So did you type in her personal Gmail account or work email account? Because you should only be able to see her work email account.
Jessie, J. Familius at southerncounty.org.
Yep.
Clicked on it. And I have, maybe it's not, maybe it's just her regular.
Well, what I would say is you're seeing her work email, or you're seeing her work calendar, so she's probably just put other things on that.
Brian off, that's your work one, okay.
Okay.
So is there a way you can make
Mars
your
has
own
everything.
stuff private?
Now
I'm just
share
thinking
everything,
like,
you know,
if
with
Yeah.
work or home or whatever, so.
Unless you give me access to it, it'll just say.
So like I put Stan in,
Just in one of
just,
those.
just that's curious, and it's completely full with a ton of different things, but if he had something, say with his wife or whatever, that he didn't want everyone in their office, see, but he still wanted to schedule it, then you can make it private.
So yeah, if you want to make something private, let me show you.
Okay.
So I'm going to get rid of Mark here. I click in, and I'm just going to say whatever. We're going to call it a doctor's appointment. If you notice down here, the default, so I actually clicked on that. I'll show you that again, because it's kind of a weird spot. I actually clicked down here, and then I'm going to say, hey, default visibility. Let's make it private. Let's just show that I'm busy. So now, even if it's shared with someone, it's not going to show the title. It's just going to say, hey, they're busy right now. So, can't schedule with me. Yeah, and we can actually set the default visibility to busy or to private. And so we can talk with Keith about that. Generally speaking, you want people to know that, hey, you're actually doing something work-related and you're in this meeting, because it tends to help. Yeah, so if you're in HR, that's a great point. We can actually change the default visibility just for HR. So in that situation, maybe you should just send Keith an email and say, hey, let's change the default visibility. And it's super easy, so we can get that done today, no problem. Let's see. I'm still in here, so I've created this random thing. I'm gonna name it again.
He puts it in there.
Just gonna call it the meeting. I'm gonna keep it as an event, but notice you can do out of office, so it's just gonna say OOO out of office, and no one's gonna be able to schedule with you. So you can do that, and it automatically declines new and existing meetings, which is nice. Then you can set a task. So you can actually schedule tasks as well as just using tasks from Gmail that I was showing you earlier. So I can schedule a task and I can say, hey, at such and such time, I want to call Beth. And it's related to Gmail or it's Drive or whatever here. Or you can put in appointment slots. These slots say, hey, I'm available for these times. So this is when I want to have my meetings in the afternoon. So you can actually put in times there and people
And
can,
this is for your own personal calendar.
but people will then know, so if they look at your calendar, it'll show as an appointment slot and they'll know to schedule in those times, because maybe the mornings you like to keep for general housekeeping information or catching up on emails or, you know, water cooler chat, which is very important. So those are the differences there, and then if I'm just choosing a meeting, you set the time, you can click into it, change everything you need. You can add your guests from here as well, and you just type them in. And they don't have to be G Suite users, right? Anyone with an email you can invite to a meeting. And then you're gonna add video conferencing. By default, it's gonna be Google Meet. Google Meet's a great tool. I suggest you guys all use it if you're not using it right now. It's easy to start meetings with anyone. And you can have up to 150 people in a meeting, which is too many people. If you have 150 people on a web call, you know for a fact that's too many people. Then if you need to add a room, so I know Keith and I have been working on putting some rooms together that you guys can schedule out. We can just come here and if you saw where I clicked again, add room. All right, now here's just some random rooms that I have. And you can just choose based off that. And also notice that it's got little tags here. These tags tell you what that room has available. So maybe you need a room with a projector. If I need a room with a projector, the training room's not going to do it for me. I need the content.
Yo, donuts.
So there we go. I scheduled that room out. Head back. Hit save. So now I've got the room, no big deal. All right, now we want to, let's say we always work with a particular coworker, and we want to be able to see their calendar next to ours all the time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to my settings, and I'm going to come into settings, and I'm going to add a calendar. So on the left, I'm scrolling down to add a calendar. I'm actually going to subscribe to a calendar. So here we go. I'm going to choose Mark. So I just put his name in there. I'm going to say, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to leave all these default settings, but you can change them as you need. So basically, like if you want to know anytime Mark schedules a new event, you can get a warning, but that seems ridiculous. So now I've got Mark down here on the left again. All right, so now I will always see Mark's information next to my information so that it's easy to schedule meetings with him. I can tell when he's going to be in the office. If temporarily I don't want to see his calendar, I just click the checkbox next to it. Okay? Any questions there? Concerns?
So it's one calendar, but with multiple, you have, what I'm saying is like one calendar screen, but you can have multiple calendars on it.
Absolutely.
And if you just do that, I mean, I've like done mine with like 20 dots.
Yep, and you can do it right.
Because in Outlook, you'd have like 3 calendars. I could have like 3 monthly calendars side by side. Am I making like 3
Yeah.
individual, like 1, 2, 3. But this one is the calendar altogether with.
Yeah, so you're accessing, basically you have one calendar and you're subscribing to other calendar feeds.
Yes.
Right, so everything's
There's no way,
transposed on,
but there's no way to do my monthly side by side.
I believe there is a way to do that. Let me verify.
So like, if I just wanna look at like Stan's calendar, and I just want Stan, but right next to it, I want a whole separate calendar and look at Jeff,
So,
or not, they're just all mushed into one.
well, and
which is fine, I'm just,
I think for that use case, so calendars have their own URL, so you can actually open up each calendar by its own URL and look at it that way. You're not going to see it side by side though, because they're in their own separate Chrome tabs.
okay.
So you'd be tabbing through. And right, I mean, really, that use case you just described is going to be a lot more simple if we just subscribe to all 3 calendars and say, hey, I want to see those 3 calendars on this one spot. Because you can actually get rid of your own calendar. Right, like let's say you don't need to see your information, you get rid of yours temporarily. Now I'm just looking at Mark's and my reminders or whatever.
I actually have quite a few calendars I keep track of.
So did Ryan have to give you permission to view his calendar?
So I'm viewing Mark's calendar. So right, I'm Ryan,
Mark, I mean, sorry.
but Mark did not have, because we're in the same organization. Mark did not have to give me permission to view his calendar, and that's set at the default level, at the admin level. So,
So if I just wanna check in on Tammy and I just wanna know what she's up to, I can see her stuff?
yeah, you can go look.
Alright.
How do I send, so I've gotten emails before, like
I'm rethinking
I made a hotel. A hotel reservation. I get the confirmation and it pops up on my Gmail, on my calendar. How do I send an email that does the same thing to somebody else's calendar?
So if you send the email as I'm showing, so if we go ahead and just create something here and put in a guest, it'll actually send that email for you.
I mean, from my Gmail, if I send it from my Gmail, not from the calendar.
So if
I
you
guess
send
that's
it, so you want to send it directly from your calendar?
From my, well, I want to send it from my email, but I want it to show up on another calendar.
He wants to send it from his Gmail account and he wants it to pop up on their calendar.
Or do I have to send it from my calendar to them?
Well, you can send it from, I mean, yeah, essentially you have to use calendar, right, to schedule it. So
I think what
here's
he's
that
saying
tab.
is, so like he gets an email from Marriott and on that email it says add to my calendar. So he wants to be able to share that with somebody else.
No, I want to be able to send an email that does the same thing, so it'll show up on their calendar.
Oh,
Add
gotcha.
this to your calendar and then they can click on add this.
Yeah,
That
so,
would be a calendar thing, right?
yeah, so that's from calendar, right? There are ways to do it out of Gmail, but it uses add-ons that are kind of ugly. The easiest way is to just open up a calendar and send the invite that way, and that'll actually give them that exact thing you're talking about. So it'll put it on their calendar, they can accept it, yes or no.
Okay.
So it does give them that same view, it's just being sent from calendar, not from Gmail directly. Sorry for my confusion there. And if you notice, I came back to Gmail, calendar's right here on the right. So I can look at my day calendar really quickly, right? So this is gonna show also the things I'm subscribed to. So it's not just gonna be my calendar. If you're subscribed to 10 calendars and viewing them all, you'll see all of those in line. But let's say I wanna go ahead and open up calendar, the full view. I can just click this tab on the right. And now I'm back in the calendar.
It opens up another tab at the top.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's just another quick way to navigate to calendar. Just to make things nice and easy. So if you do need a bigger view, go ahead and do that. What other questions do we have with calendar? Do we want to see how to make it a 5-day week instead of the Saturday and Sunday showing on your calendars? No interest? Okay. It's just this drop down here, by the way. Okay, well, I think calendars are covered. If we have any more questions, we can go back, but for now, let's talk about Drive.
Okay, that's what I want to do.
All right, so who is currently using Drive at all? Who's looked at it? You're using Drive extensively or just a little bit?
Well, when we went from, we were gonna stop using Microsoft, so I took all my Excel files and saved them, and then I imported them into Drive,
Okay.
the sheets.
Now, did you import them, and when you open them up, do you use them as Excel files?
Yeah.
And have
Well,
you?
no, I use them on sheets, as sheets files, I just open the sheet. Is that what you're asking? I don't go back into Excel or anything.
Yeah, so, but it's in Sheets, and when you open it up, let me ask you this.
Where is that? It's like, like it.
Up here, does it say .exe next to your title? Or whatever the Excel file type is? Because if it does, that'll actually say, hey, this is still an Excel file type. And so when you download it, you can send it, and it'll send as Excel to whomever you're working with.
So if I open, just what I'm looking at right now, let's see. It says docs.google.com. Where's the exe if it?
It would be right next to the name of your,
Oh,
so this one, is, for example, is not, but it would say dot.
I'm just seeing the name, I'm not
Okay.
seeing,
So then that was uploaded as a Sheets document. We'll go over how to upload directly as an Excel document. That way, if you're working with someone who's working in Excel, you won't have to reformat it to Excel and then send it out. It'll just be in Excel. You can work in it directly from Drive and then send it off to them. No big deal. Okay, so what is Drive? Drive is a way to view all of our documents. It saves everything for us. It's a great central hub. It's saved into the cloud, so we're not worried about it disappearing. And it links, basically we can save any file type in here, but it links really well to Sheets, documents, Word, Excel, PDFs. Those are the type of things that we should be thinking about. Any of our files that we're in and out of constantly, we should be thinking about Drive and storing things in Drive. So the first tab we have open is priority. What's the priority? It is things Google knows that we use. So if you're in a certain document all the time, you're going to find it in priority. It's going to be really quick. It's going to be right there for you to search. You can also create workspaces, and that's found in this priority tab as well. And a workspace is maybe a collection of documents that work together. So like we do, maybe I do my billing on the first Friday of every month. I have a workspace that has all of my billing documents that I need to go through and fill everything out. And that's just a workspace, and it's like 5 documents in a row for me, right? Really easy for me to find them right there. They're also saved in another folder, but Workspaces knows that I'm going to need those documents on the first Friday of every month, because Google's pretty smart and it learns my working patterns. So it's actually going to start to learn, hey, they use this workspace on whatever day of the week, and actually have it there for you really quickly. Drive, my Drive. This is just file sharing, nothing crazy here. We can add folders. We can take folders away. We can, so I just right click anywhere in here and create a new folder. And there's my test folder. You can drag and drop things into Drive at any time. We can also do uploads. Drag and drop is probably the easiest. But if you need to upload something, you come to the left here, do a file upload. Or you can do an entire folder upload. So maybe you've got a big folder on your desktop and you want everything to be moved into a folder on Drive. Just go find your folder here and say, hey, I want all that music uploaded. And it'll do that for you. So, pretty simple stuff there. What I want to talk about is some of these options. So the sharing, the getting the link, the add shortcut to Drive, moving things, that sort of stuff. So if I want to share something at any point out of Drive, I can right click on it and select share, but we need to be careful about where we're clicking. Because if I choose test, if I choose this folder, anything in that folder will then be shared out. So it's not just one document, it could potentially be 100 documents. And I'm now gonna share it with such and such a user. Right, so it's really easy to share things, but we need to be careful because it's really easy to share things. And if you share something you didn't need to, that's a problem. Now, it's always really easy to take that shared permission away, but you know, if you don't realize you shared the world with someone, then you're in a sticky situation. So I'm just going to share this with my buddy Mark, and if you notice, we have the viewer, we have the editor. I'm going to hit send. That person is added. Now if you notice, my test folder shows a little person on it. My other folders don't, except for this personal drive migration. That's because I just shared that out. So I'm in my drive, it's showing me, hey, this is shared with someone, just so you know. And if I want to change that sharing setting, I can go ahead and right click, and it shows me who it's all shared with. So there I am, I'm the owner, and I can't change that. But I can actually remove Mark at this point. So I can make him the owner of everything in that document, or I can just remove him outright. So I'm going to remove him and save those changes. So that's how easy it is to grant and take away permissions to any file out of Drive, and basically any file out of G Suite anywhere. It's that same process. Does that make sense? No questions there? Okay, getting a link. I think we have get link turned off for you guys. So we won't cover that. Add a shortcut to Drive. So maybe you want to store something in Drive, but you also want to shortcut somewhere else in the Drive folder so you can get to it quicker. You can add a shortcut and then decide where the shortcut's going to be. So, nice and easy there. We can move the whole folder or move an item to somewhere else in your Drive structure. Star, rename, change the color, right? These are all things that you guys are familiar with. Nothing too crazy there. The next thing I want to do is I actually want to skip over shared drives and I want to go down to shared with me. So shared with me is everything that has been shared to this account, to the account you're currently using from an external source, you know, that you currently have access to, but it could temporarily be, like it could be taken away at any time. And it also shows you who shared it. So there's a super cute picture of me as a kid. If you're not seeing it, I wish it could be bigger for you. You all deserve it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, I know. Anyways, but that actually shows who shared it with me, right? So, hey, this Doug guy shared an item with me, or this other Ryan account. I have a lot of fake accounts. But you can see who shared it with you, and then you can also open it up and start editing and doing whatever you need to. Now I wanted to talk about shared drives. Shared drives, you should think about very similarly to file shares. So you guys have network file shares here. It sounds like the plan is we're slowly going to be moving to shared drives. I don't know what a timeline on that looks like exactly, but these shared drives will be able to do everything that your file store does, but it's saved in the cloud, so you're never going to lose it. And, you know, IT doesn't have to actually maintain it, which is a lot of work. So a shared drive, think of these as your G drive, your H drives, your I drives, M drives. Wherever you share your data, these are the same things. And so you'll be given permissions to shared drives that you need access to. Yeah, so you don't have a shared drive right now. You don't have access to a shared drive.
I'm like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, so more than likely, you don't have access to a shared drive right now. So we're just looking at my screen. I just want to go over the concepts of it. It's everything in Drive that you currently use, plus the ability to say, maybe employee A leaves the company. If employee A leaves the company and everything was shared in their My Drive, you then have to go into their account and decide, hey, where did everything go? Who needed permissions to what documents? Or you have to go in and say, hey, we have to change the owner for all of these documents. Otherwise, we're going to lose it. The shared drive, the advantage of that is the shared drive owns the document. So if employee A leaves, all the documents that they saved into the shared drive, nothing changes. It's still shared with the same people. Employee A is just no longer there. Right, so that makes it a lot easier for you guys to make sure things are shared with the correct people at the correct times. And then anytime I create a document, so this HyperHippo account, any document I create in here is automatically shared with everyone who has access to this. So now I, as a user, don't have to go say, hey, who does this need to be shared with? If I'm using shared drives, I don't care who it needs to be shared with, because the administration has already determined who it needs to be shared with, and they'll already have access to everything there. So that's why shared drives are really cool. Makes it super simple, a spot for all of accounting to work together, a spot for all of finance to work together. HR can have their own folder. And it's super secure. Only people who've been given access can actually get into there. So that's shared drives, that's my spiel on it. Any questions kind of drive related or anything like that? Okay. Oh, let's see. Drive file stream. Anyone using Drive file stream? No problem. So Drive file stream, because we know that working out of Chrome all the time can be a little bit tedious, especially when we're working with folders, PDFs, Excel documents, that sort of thing. And you're used to your network shares being on your computer here. What Drive file stream is it's essentially that, right? So if you notice, I'm in here, there's my Drive file stream, and here's my documents. This is the same stuff that's in my Drive. So I'm always able to access it.
Where the heck did we go?
So if you guys Google search Drive file stream, and then go and download it and sign into your account on Drive file stream, you'll be able to start using this immediately.
What am I Googling again?
Drive file stream, so let me put it in the top again.
Do I want Drive file stream download?
Yep, so deploy Drive file stream. Let's see. The Windows version, I would imagine. I think everyone is on a Windows device here.
I got how it works, okay. Windows, the down arrow, download now.
Yep. Go ahead and download Drive file stream. This is a great tool that makes working out of Drive a lot more familiar to our network shares and to just saving documents like we normally do.
So, and then. Did you open it? Open it.
Yeah, so once you open it, it's probably gonna require you to sign in. It might be able to grab your cached credentials, but
Okay, so I want it to make change.
yep, go ahead and run that.
Okay, what did I do wrong?
Install.
Yep. There you go. So put in your credentials, and then you'll start syncing your files. So you'll notice if I drop down my This PC tab, it's It's gonna be found under the devices drive. And you'll always have my drive, and then,
Password, the one that we sign in with every.
yeah, it's gonna be the one you sign in with every day. And then your shared drives, and then whatever shared drives you have access to. And these shared drives are living, breathing things, so like you could be given access and you'll have it immediately. So if you need access, yep, it's giving you a whole kind of rundown, but you can click through that. There's some cool little tips that you might want to read there, but
I can go back and do it?
yep,
Okay.
awesome. So basically, Drive File Stream is an extension of Drive. It makes it a little bit more user-friendly when we're working on our desktops. We're not out of Chrome, and we can just go ahead and drag and drop anything we want into Drive File Stream, and it'll be found in our drive in the cloud. So, any questions on that? How that works?
So then it just opens up to that.
Yep. And so if you click My Drive, because remember you don't have any shared drives currently,
Oh, whoops. I'm gonna go back to where I was.
so just where your mouse is, or where your blue marker is, just one up from that. And then, yep, double click into that. And those are the folders that you or files you currently have in your drive. There you go.
That's a really long way, but I can just hit the waffle button and put it.
Well, but if you're not in Chrome, or if you have another, maybe you're working out of, there's lots of programs that won't let you save directly to, it needs you to save to a map drive. This will let you save basically to what's considered a mapped drive, but it's mapped to Google Drive. So you'll be able to save a lot more file types in here than just out of the Drive or the Chrome version. Does that make sense for everyone? Okay. Questions on Drive? Awesome. I'll consider nothing a good thing. What do we want to talk about next? Because we can talk about docs, sheets, slides, those kind of things. I won't be able to get super in depth just because they're, we can talk about sheets forever. Excel has a million topics.
I sent out an email to department heads with, I sort of tried to copy Keith and did, sheets so that people can sign up for a time for budget hearings. Not a lot of people, I don't know, how do they, I could edit, I mean, everybody, an editor. So if they go into their email, right?
Yep. If they go into their email, so you've sent permissions to someone to edit a document, they'll find it in their email and it'll look like this. It'll say, hey, you have an invitation to edit, and they'll be able to open in Sheets right there.
And also, it seems like from how I did it, they could scroll down and open it as a PDF, but I don't know if it's sign up for a time slot. Probably not.
No, because the PDFs are not going to be editable.
Okay.
It was easy. I just put my department in the open slot and then saved it.
And you just did the sheet, so it was, okay, because I
Yeah,
had
so
some
I
people
know,
be like,
it's just like his assignment for this class.
that's what I was trying to
You
do.
did great. Hopefully it worked.
I actually kind of just copied his stuff and changed it a little bit.
Yeah, so anytime you share permissions out like that for a document, and you're not sending it in an email, right? So that's a different share than what we did in an email where we added it to the email. We're actually in Drive and we're sharing it directly out, or we're in Sheets and we're sharing it directly out. They'll get a response like this to say, hey, so-and-so wants you to go edit this Sheets document, and they'll be able to open it.
Okay.
So let's say we want to start a new sheet. We can do it from Drive directly. Click New Sheet. We can also come to our waffle icon and select Sheets.
Yes.
Right, so pretty easy there.
Or in documents is just like Word, is that right?
And Documents is similar to Word, right? I don't want to say it's just like, because there are some features that are different, but it is Google's version, absolutely.
So is that what they want us to start using, is documents instead of Word?
So you guys all have access to Microsoft Office products still, is that correct? So my belief is Keith is happy letting you guys use Microsoft Office still, and the IT department's happy supporting that. So really,
Don't worry about that.
I wouldn't worry too much about Sheets. I think we can talk about other things with our time. Just know that all of those documents you're working in right now can be saved in Drive and then shared out through Drive. So we still get the benefits of sharing. We still get the benefits of unlimited cloud storage, retention. One thing that is worth noting is once it's shared into Drive, you can do this with any file type. You can actually come in and you can see version history. So I clicked into a sheet, I went down to version history, and I'm gonna say, let's see the version history. Then over on the right, it's gonna show me when edits were made, right? And what edits were made. So even if we take an Excel document, save it as an Excel document in Sheets, or in, Drive, once it's saved into Drive, that's its first point of reference. From that point forward, anytime someone goes in and makes any change, they manipulate a single cell, they change the title, they do any change, Drive's going to be able to save a copy of that, and we're going to be able to revert back to it at any point in time. And it tells you who made the change. So I'm moving this document back to a June 3rd, 2019 version. I click on it, I say, that's the version I want. I'm going to go ahead and restore it. So now I just went back to June 3rd. And so that can be done. That's another advantage of using Drive is any of our file types, anytime they're edited, those are time sequenced. So we can always see who's making changes. Since we're still talking and we're still using Drive, even if this is an Excel format, you'll see it'll look very similar here. I'm going to go ahead and hit share. And just so we know who things are shared with. Anytime you click share, it's going to tell you who it's already shared with, their permissions, and the ability to add more. If you have oops. So I'm sharing a document again, and try being a little slow here. Oh. That's why. Oh, you know what? I actually haven't turned off this domain. So there's a way to, in the sharing settings, and I don't know if you guys have access to it, but when you share with someone, you can put a timeline on it for how long they have access to it. I'll talk to Keith about that. If we do have access, I'll shoot Keith an email on how to actually do that so that you guys can see it in the future. But do we have questions with Drive and how we can upload files into Drive and sharing from Drive? Anything that we need to talk about there? Okay, then we are on the home stretch here. Unless we've got questions that come up, I think we should discuss Meet, and then we can discuss maybe chat afterwards, but yeah. So Google Meet, the world is now virtual. We're taking online meetings all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on at least 4 web calls a day. It's a real pain, but that's just kind of where we're at now. Google Meet is a great tool to be able to take those web calls. You can host them, start them at any point in time. There's no session length requirements. So you can be on for 2 minutes, no big deal. You can be on for 10 hours, no big deal. You guys can do whatever you need within those. So if you want to come to Meet, you can always just go to meet.google.com, or from Gmail, you can come up here and click Meet, or you can do your meetings over here on the left. So that's 3 options, whatever's going to work easiest for you. All of them are going to take you here, essentially. Now, here I have a meeting with Mark. That's a fake meeting at 12. So I can open that up at 12 and we'll just start chatting, or I can create a new meeting. Oh, apparently I created a meeting. So here's what my meeting looks like. If I want to turn off the video, the camera right there, I can do so. I can turn off the microphone. This is the blurred background feature, which is new. So if you're working from home and you don't want your kids to be seen in the background screaming, and my daughter takes her diaper off right now, that's kind of her thing, so.
That's half the fun.
Well, but yeah, we blur the background because some think it's unprofessional.
So what's our, so you have to name your meeting.
Yep, so you have to name the meeting, but then I go ahead and start. I've got it blurred right now. I can go ahead
What
and,
did we name it, anything you want?
anything you want. Some cool things we can do from this meeting though. If you notice, I'm in here. I'm gonna go ahead and show everyone who's in the meeting. Now, I'm the only one currently in this meeting, but I can add people during the meeting live, and it'll actually give them an email to say, hey, so-and-so wants you in the meeting. Why don't you come join us? So you can go ahead and email them, and this can be any email in the world. You can just send them an email, and it'll give them a heads up. Another cool thing is you can dial people into your meetings with you. So if you know person A is not gonna be near their email, or you don't have their email address but you have a phone number, you can come in here and do a phone number. It'll dial them in directly, and everyone on the meeting will be able to hear them talk.
That's my camera downstairs on my, yeah. Okay, actually, I turned it around. I didn't want anybody looking at me, so I turned, outside you can see all the wires.
Next to
Oh, sorry. Nothing.
Next to that, you have a chat session. So if someone's presenting and you don't want to interrupt them, you can chat here, and it'll show up for everyone in the meeting. We also have polls, so you can poll people. So if you have 20 people in a meeting and you want to say, hey, what are we doing for lunch, or any questions, you can start a poll, and it'll just run in.
I don't either. Why did you add people?
Oh, yeah, let's go over adding people again. So I'm gonna finish launching that poll, just so you can see, but everyone will be able to say, hey, yeah, let's go ahead.
How do I get out there?
All right, so if we're adding people, we're in our meeting, I'm gonna click right here. If you can't see that screen yet,
Oh, that'll take my.
you're gonna show everyone.
I'm back to.
And then you're gonna add,
I can't see you.
and then put up, you know,
You just open your camera. Oh, crap.
that's funny, 1 second.
Okay. I better get on. Everything is thing now. Just tilt it up there.
I had 2 meets open, and one of them was recording sound, so we were getting some feedback.
And I sent you an email to join my meeting.
You did.
How do you ask someone?
Yeah, so if you're looking at my screen here, you're in the meeting.
I'm gonna end my meeting.
I'm gonna click on show everyone.
I didn't even get to join it.
Oh, so join now.
I didn't get the email.
So you can add people at that point, or you can go ahead and exit out of that. But if you click add people,
Couldn't turn my sound off.
yeah, so click right there
Yeah, because it's weird, because
and then send an email.
Okay.
I don't see what he's seen when I started a meeting.
Hey, I'm sending you.
Okay, so we had a question about how to add people. We still,
Yeah, we're still stupid.
I wouldn't put it that way.
Go to your email.
So if you join now, so you need to join the meeting first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now you've joined,
But I sent you an
and then
invite.
if you, oh, look, you're already in a meeting with someone.
I didn't try to be.
Where do I see? How do I see them, not me, on my, because I've been waiting.
So if their cameras are off,
Camera must be
Well, his was, I saw his did come up for a minute.
yeah, so it automatically,
camera must be turned off.
it's gonna show you who's in there. But it looks like you're the only one in right now.
Right.
So it'll show them side by side, or it'll split it up logically, but if you don't wanna see yourself at all, once more people are in, you'll be able to, yeah, then you'll be able to click out of yourself.
So how do can I see everyone that's in there at one time?
Well, so you're technically seeing everyone but yourself. Do you wanna see yourself there?
Well, maybe in two people. I guess I am right there.
Yeah,
but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, stay where you're at, so we can see you. What have I done?
Traffic and we're both froze.
I don't know. Do you wanna click out of this?
Oh, now I'm inviting people to my meeting.
Yeah, you've frozen your remote desktop, is what it looks like. I mean, can you do anything else?
Zoom meeting, so I can like.
Yeah, I think your remote desktop somehow froze.
If I'm at my home office, sometimes I'll turn up the volume
Blurring
really
out the
loud. and then
background is a good idea when you're at home.
Yeah. Sometimes
Okay,
I'll
so when we're in meetings,
sweep
sometimes we need to share our screen,
Join the meeting.
right? So let's go over how we can share our screen with other people so that they can see what we're working on. Sorry about that. Okay. So from here,
You're so fun.
I'm gonna click present now at the bottom of my screen. It's at the bottom right. If you're not seeing it, you need to toggle over it at the bottom right. But there's an entire screen, a window, or a Chrome tab. So an entire screen is gonna be everything you're seeing on your screen. And if you have multiple monitors, it's gonna be either monitor 1 or monitor 2. And you can choose which one to share. If you're sharing a window, it's gonna be the entire Chrome window that you're currently running, or whatever application window you're currently running. So that's a little bit different. A Chrome tab is the best way to share, in my opinion. If you're working out of Chrome, this is the best way to do it, because what you can do is select the Chrome tab, it'll say everything that's open for you. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, let's show this top 10 functions in G Suite. And I'm gonna select share audio. Click share.
I'm leaving this echoey meeting. Sorry, you guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you mute your microphones in the meet, and then we won't get any of this feedback.
Feedback. You can close caption it.
So if you notice, I'm in the sheet here, or in the meet here. I shared a sheet. And I'm sharing this tab, so it shows up at the top what tab I'm sharing.
It's like romper room.
So everyone in my meeting will be able to see exactly what I'm doing here. They'll be able to see this document. which is pretty nice. And then I can go ahead and let's say I want to share another area with them. If I open up another tab, I can click share this tab instead, and now they're going to see my calendar. So that's a good way to make sure you're sharing what you want to share, but maybe you're not working out of Chrome. Maybe you need to share something else. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to select present my entire screen. And then it's going to make me choose a screen. So there, I only have one screen, but anything I do on my screen at this point will be shared with everyone else. So you just need to be careful that you don't have, I don't know, whatever open, or you're not getting emails or private emails or things like that when you're sharing your entire screen.
I'm not playing solitaire while you're watching.
But you go ahead and share that. Anyone in the meeting with you will then be able to see it. And then once you're done sharing, you just come back to this tab and click stop presenting. Does that make sense to everyone?
Where'd you get to that? Click on the three dots.
Awesome.
I can't see how.
In our go-to-meeting,
Okay, well, at this point, I think we've covered at least the main points of interest. What do we want to go over again? Is there something you want to see? What are we struggling with? I think we have a little bit of time here.
Just me? Did you invite somebody? Yeah, that was my business.
I have a question.
Okay.
If I need to create a specific group,
So just create a group for yourself to,
Big, large group email.
so big, large group email. That's going to be best done through a group that is created by IT. So if you need, you know, maybe,
She wants to send an email to like 7 people in her office.
yeah, so in that situation, the best way to do that, I would say, is let's send the group that you want created to IT, and then they'll create it for you. Because, for instance, you can always send emails to groups, but if the group's not created, obviously it's not going to do anything. But yeah, I think in that situation, it's going to be easiest to go ahead and have IT create a group for you. Well, what were you doing to create the group emails?
Crap, now I can't even remember. Oh, yeah, do you go into contacts, is that how you do it?
You're in.
Create a contact.
so you have to create a contact and that's where.
And then you can put everybody into that contact, I think is how.
Yeah, so you can do it that way.
Oh, well, that sounds easy.
That's how I had to do it.
So the problem with doing that is then only you have access to that unless you're sharing it out. Whereas if it's done from IT, then anyone will be, you know, so maybe you're not the only one who needs to email those 7 people, right? If it's done from IT side, then everyone will be able to email those 7 people from Box Elder County. So that's why that's the preferred method in my mind.
So did you do create?
Today's your admin account.
Yeah, but not everybody's gonna want access to my doors.
I did,
I created,
I did like
county employees, or
created a contact and I named it clerk's
I can
office.
send it to
And
Scott,
then I dragged
Marcus,
like
it allowed him.
Lori and Jesse and Marlon.
Really? Yeah,
Maybe it'd be better to
That's
have the
what I
group
did.
created from them.
from IT, yeah, I can just delete it off.
Not have it assume you want other people.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I need to send it to everybody.
In contacts, you'll notice you have a directory and then you have contacts. Your directory is everyone who works at Box Elder County. And then you can actually go in to certain people and add them to your contacts.
Oh,
This person's already added to my contacts, so I've got to undo it.
Yeah, I haven't done my big fair one yet, but I've
Yeah.
done quite a few.
Yeah, so I can come in, there's only one person in this directory because it's just me for this big account, but I can go ahead and add that to my contacts. And then you'll see, hey, in contacts, here's the information. So I'm sure you're not working with every single employee of Box Elder County at all points of time. If you want to have a more up-to-date contact list, you can have people from Box Elder and from external sources in this contacts list. Whereas the directory is just people from Box Elder, and it's everyone from Box Elder.
So if I send out an email to all our mechanical contractors or general contractors, I'm gonna have Keith and those guys create that group?
No, you don't have to. It's just if it's going to be something that other people are going to want to use,
I'm
then
the only one using it, so, and I created it, it seems to.
then you're fine. Yeah, then you're great. Then I don't want to yuck your yum. That's perfect. It's just if we know other people are going to use it, let's
Okay.
let's
Who's gonna use that? Yeah.
make sure that we're not repeating work multiple times.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, just right there.
I have a question on Google Drive.
Sure.
So there's things in there that I know I didn't put in there, so it's just probably recent files. But can I just get them out of there anytime I want to and delete them, because I don't,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's.
How did they get there?
How did they
all by
get there?
themselves? That's what I thought.
So let me come take a look at them.
Because like, these are plans that the contractors have sent to me, but they did it through email. How come why are they there?
My guess would be you probably click Save the Drive. Well, I mean, that's still my guess, though.
Okay, so
You could tell me that's not what happened, but I'm still going to guess that.
I do that to Nate and Keith all the time, didn't I? So, okay, I can just get rid of them?
Yeah, you can just get rid of them. So you can click into them, you can right click and hit trash, or you can drag and drop into the trash on your left.
Okay.
If I'm doing it for the
Oh, you
employees.
don't want to do that?
Oh, I don't.
Any other questions that you think I can help out with?
Yours just come up on my email.
Oh, well, I ended the meeting, so.
How did we create our own?
Create your office group, your contacts.
So when the email came through with that attachment, I saved it. How did I do that? I was really good.
That was slick. That was slick.
Because like, they'll send me.
I don't know, I've got one I got.
Yeah, so if you find one with an attachment, I'll show you what you did.
Okay, here's one that has an attachment.
Scroll down to the attachment.
Oh, I got there.
I don't know why some of these are even in here.
One more, come on. I hate.
Does that, you know,
With your own,
Oh, so am I. I'm struggling.
there'd be a whole lot.
So if you
more
hover
that's
over
in
there,
Yeah.
see how you clicked on that one. You clicked add to drive instead of the download on the left. So if you add to drive, it's going to put it straight into your drive, whereas if you download it, it's going to download it to your device.
But it did download to my device, so that's kind of weird. I must have clicked it twice.
There's that
I
potential.
am fancy. See, look, there it went.
See, you're fancier than you
I
think
probably
you
just
are.
hovered over it and it,
Yeah, I could have.
Okay, that's what I did. I'm sure.
These would be in,
Yeah, I know there's some weird things in mine that, like,
Are you guys still working on the creating of contacts?
I think I figured it out. You have to create a label and then you go to who's on the committee.
Yeah, so if you, exactly right, you create the
It's
label,
just like anything
and then you
else.
go
don't
ahead
love it because
and
it's
add
not
people
what
to
you're
that
used to.
label,
exactly.
and then you'll be able to email that label, and it'll individually send
And then you
email
can do lots of.
to each one of those users.
County.
You just type in
Just-
employee committee and it's go out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Yeah, so that's
some
exactly
I'll
right.
use, some I won't, you
Yeah,
know?
Oh,
Some of them,
After I walk out the door.
but then you just Google it and say, how do I do this? And it's
Because you know that there's a way.
Yeah.
All right, more questions? If not, I think we were scheduled till noon. So I'm happy to give you guys an hour back, but if anyone wants to stay
I will take an hour back too.
and go through anything, let's do that. I'm happy to answer questions. You know, whatever you guys need.